What's up, tribe? I'm seeing if anyone's going to jump on. If not, you guys can watch the replay. But I have some good stuff for you. So, come on, let me know if you're here. I'll wait a few minutes to see if anyone jumps on or not. But if you don't, no worries. I just want to give you guys some good stuff. I know there's a lot of concern out there, and so I wanted to come at it from an approach of like just overall being fit. What does a fit lifestyle look like in the times of when we have things like this happen, and how do we get on top of our health, and what do we do about it? Because I know that so many times out there's so much negativity, and there's so much around, and there's so much hype that sometimes in the midst of all the hype and all the just the drama infused with the media and everything, we can lose the sense of truth and the sense of practicality of what we can do. And so I want to provide that for you guys today. And I'm going to kind of go through a bunch of stuff. I'm going to try and make it quick so I don't keep you guys for too long. Just kind of empower you, hopefully. And then I want you to reach out, ask more questions, and I'm happy to come back on and clarify and answer any of those. So thank you for anyone who's joining me tonight. Let me know you're here. That's awesome. I appreciate you, the time and everything. I know there's a lot going on. And so I think before we even dive into what we can do with our nutrition and with just supplements and just overall health and wellness, I think there's one thing that we really have to take in first is a perspective. And no matter what, these kind of things are going to happen in life, right? These kind of things are going to come at us. We're going to have uncertain times, and it's really about how we approach them, and that's a big part of living a fit lifestyle. And this is something that I was not always good at. I was someone who was very anxious, very, very anxious. I would have a lot of worry and concern and just consume me completely. And so this is something that I've learned over the years. I would not have done very well with this in the past. So much so that, it would consume me, and sometimes I even land in the hospital because of it before. So, no, this comes from someone who, understands the overwhelming kind of concern and anxiety that come from uncertain times. And there's something that, yesterday I was on a training with Dean Garziosi, and he read something, and I think it's so relevant. And so I'm going to read it to us, and then I'm going to talk briefly about that and get our mind kind of in the right place, in the right state. That way then we can go into looking at this from an approach of, okay, let's be empowered. Let's see what we can do, because we can't control what's going on out there, right? There's no amount of complaining, no amount of being upset. None of that is going to actually help us. And so I see someone popped on. Hey! And so nothing like that is actually going to help us. But if we can take a look within our own internal realm and go, okay, these are the things that we can do to safeguard ourselves. These are the kind of mindsets I can keep within my family unit, and I can keep some kind of peace in the midst of it. Kids and others really look at us, and they are learning from what we do and what we say during this time. And I think the best thing we can do for any kind of youth around us is to show them, when something like this happens, these are the things you do, and this is how we stay positive, but yet we stay aware and we put things in place. And so I think there's a balance there, but I really feel like there's so many youth that if we are in panic, what we're teaching our youth to eventually do when this happens to them as adults, they're going to go into panic, and panic, we make rash decisions. We don't show up for one another. There's a lot of pain and hurt come from there, where there's a lot of anger, and so we need to kind of figure out how to approach it differently. So there's this story. I'm going to read it to you because it's good for the beginning part. So stick with me. You'll see the reason behind it. Okay, so it's an old Cherokee chief teaching his grandson about life. It says, "A fight is going on inside me," he said to the boy. "It's a terrible fight, and it's between two wolves. One is evil. He is anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, lies, false, pride, superiority, self-doubt, and ego. The other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside of every other person too." The grandson then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf will win?" The chief simply replied, "The one you feed." And I think that's so relevant. Whatever we feed in our minds right now, if we feed our minds with, "This is horrible, oh my gosh, what are we going to do?" If we feed our minds with that anxiety, think about it, as more anxious, the more stressed we are, the more our immune systems go down, right? And the more disruption comes to family units. If you have kids who are now going to have to be home with you for like a week or two, this could be a great opportunity to like build a stronger family unit. This could be a great opportunity to teach them some lessons. Like this is what when these things come, like we can choose to embrace some kind of positive outlook. Like we come out stronger from this, and really maybe have some good connecting times, or we can feed all the negative and be angry and frustrated with something that we have no control over. So I want you to think of that as you go start your days, and as things come in, and I'm going to provide you guys in the resource with some tools and stuff, even for your kids, like just how to deal with like just emotions around it, and like frustrations, and how to get you guys in the right mindset, and just some kind of those things. So if you want that will be there to use. And if you have any more questions regarding that, please reach out to me, because I have lots of tools and different things. But if we can't come at it from a decent mindset of like, okay, let's be empowered, then everything I'm going to share with you is going to be filtered through a negative perspective, and like, oh, that, maybe that won't work, and we have to like believe we can do things. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that's, give me a thumbs up for this. All right, sorry, glasses. So the research, or the relevant, this is Josh Red, okay, and he published this, and this actually came through part of a couple other groups, and a fitness kind of higher level group, and they provided this with me, because we're all fitness professionals and everyone's being affected by it, right? Because of no one wanting to get a trainer or work with us. And so I thought this was great. So it says, the coronavirus hysteria update. He said, I've been traveling all over, going on different news and radio shows. We have a lot more data and research now. Here's what we know as of today, with the data being consistent around the world. If you are 50 and under, the cure rate is almost 100%. If you are under 30, the likelihood of you even contracting the disease is significantly lower. Another key thing to understand is that two countries that are getting hit the worst are China and Italy. Italy and China have in common, their population has some of the highest smoking rates out of the country in the world. For example, 50% of men from China smoke. This is a lung-based virus, so if you smoke, it jacks things up even more. On top of that, Italy has a historic elderly population. For some reason, we don't know why, the main people who are impacted most are those who are 50 and older, and also have a pre-existing condition. But guess what else? They took this toilet paper and water isn't really going to help those individuals. So he has a little good sense of humor there. Here are the top pre-existing conditions that are causing problems. Okay, so cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, chronic respiratory diseases. Remember, it's a lung-based one. Hypertension, cancer, and kidney disease. Okay, so those are the ones that are kind of the ones that you have to look out for. Most of these are inflammatory conditions. So if you're 50 and older and you have one of the above, there's simple strategies to turn this around, and you can do it quick in order to give your immune system a fighting chance. So that's when we talk about like having foods and stuff that are, that reverse that. So this is a great article. I'm going to give you guys a link to it. If you have an inflammatory condition, guess what makes it worse? Inflammatory food. Guess what makes it better? Not eating inflammatory foods. Avoid foods like gluten, dairy, and sugar. This isn't guesswork anymore. Stacks of research show negative impact these foods have on our immune systems. Let's see. There we go. Okay. And so he says, let's see, I love his sense of humor. Rather than fight for toilet paper at Costco, start fighting for vegetables and fruits and food that actually benefit the immune system. He said, we have patients from 30 different countries and every state in the nation with inflammatory and autoimmune conditions. And some of these things can be turned around within a few weeks. Now is the time. Vitamin D is crucial to regulate T cells, which play a critical role in the immune system. So that's another thing he says out there. He said, but at least do these things like washing hands, covering your mouth and nose when you cough and sneeze. Avoid close contact with anyone showing symptoms of respiratory illness, such as coughing, sneezing. If you're feeling any of them above, stay away from elderly who have pre-existing conditions. And he said that he was going to mention it on the news. I don't actually have TV, so I couldn't see if he was on the news or not. But I think the biggest takeaway from here is that what we do today really matters, not just in the longevity of our life, but when things like this happen. If we're not empowering ourselves to fuel our body so we can actually be ready for when something like this happens, it just goes to prove that, I mean, because I list all those things I listed on there, a lot of those we could prevent. I mean, we don't have to have those. And so now's the time for us, I think, to actually start turning things around. And so I want to really empower us with that and some practical ways. And I'm going to actually give you, I have a kind of a book that I wrote from some research when I was working on my PhD, and it's about a 60-page guidebook. And so I'm going to kind of go through it, but this actually is about how to really boost your immune system, what it is as a holistic approach, what you can do every day to really boost your immune system. And then, like I said, I'm going to provide it for you guys because I'm not going to go through the whole book right now, but I'm going to highlight the key points that I think are essential. And these are things that we shouldn't just do now. These are things that we should do all the time. Not to say we can't go and have the food we really love and the enjoyable food from time to time. That's great. Like, go have that. But sometimes we need to make that shift and go, that needs to be a treat. And then again, we're teaching our kids, right? Okay. So I love this quote by Benjamin Franklin. He says, while we may not be able to control all that happens to us, we can control what happens inside of us. And when we eat a bunch of junk food and fail to wash our hands and engage in other activities, right, we promote getting sick. So our body is always under attack. So if you think about it, we're always around these germs. Our body is meant to fight these things off. This isn't something that is new for the body. Our body was built for this. And I have a lot of research in there about just how the immune system works and stuff, as well as like the problem with antibiotics. My big take on antibiotics is, unless you absolutely need them, don't get on them, because your body adapts to them, right? And then it doesn't work. And so antibiotics are good when we're needed, but I think too often we run to them as the source rather than trying some holistic approaches first. That is my opinion. I'm not a doctor, so disclaimer, always talk to your doctor. But I think too, there's a lot of things that we can do within our nutrition and our overall wellness from day to day that would really make the biggest difference overall. Okay, so our bodies, like I said, are actually powered immune fighting machines. They are. They're built to fight off those infections and those diseases. And so if you think about it, how many times a day are we actually standing close to someone, right, that actually sneezes or that, touches, and that we don't actually wash our hands? And so when that happens, our body, all of a sudden, our body sends a signal and it says, time to make white blood cells, okay? And so the white blood cells are what fights it off. And so our body is naturally already going to be fighting and protecting ourselves. But our immune system can only be as strong as we fuel it to be. And that's where the breakdown comes in. And so how do we keep it like a fine-tuned, I like to call it a fine-tuned immune system? Factors that influence our immune system are: we eat too much fast food, or incorporate too much saturated fat into our diet. That's some of these, and these I've researched back these up. So if you, I have it at the end of the document, so if you want to see more about it. If we rarely exercise, okay, or if we do it half-heartedly, or if we overdo it, okay, that was my big thing. I'd overdo it. Either side of the spectrum can cause us to, because it breaks down our body so much if we overtrain as well. If we thrive on stress, okay, which lowers the of cortisol, the stress hormone, right? And it is one of the biggest causing factors to actually getting sick. If I look at my life, I had shingles, okay, when I was like 30 something. I was really stressed at that time. It was like the perfect storm of me just getting a little illness and being super stressed. But if I wouldn't have been so stressed, if I would have had these tools to manage my stress better, I probably would have never gotten shingles. That's bizarre, but it happened. And if I look back over my time in my life, the times I've gotten super ill is always high stress. And that's with 16 years working with kids and mainly first graders. I should have been sick a lot more, and I wasn't, but when I get really, really stressed, that would be, if we don't sleep enough, because it changes our hormonal levels, as well as if we sleep too much. So once again, there's that fine, there's that window. We don't eat enough can be another thing, because what happens is if we don't eat enough, our body actually goes into what we call starvation mode to, hold on to as much fat. If you think of way back when, before we could actually have grocery stores and stuff, when they'd have to actually go and hunt and gather, right? The female body, especially females, okay, especially for females, that's why guys lose weight easier than females do. We would, right, the females are for childbirthing, and so they would know, their body would know, maybe during winter it wouldn't get as much nutrients in food, it wouldn't be available. So the body would automatically just hold on to every ounce of stored fat and everything when it wasn't getting enough calories, knowing you had to survive through the winter. Well, we don't have that problem now, and so if we starve ourselves, it's holding on to the fat, and we're not going that extended amount of time without, the nutrients in the food to even balance it out. And so know that there is that part too where you can actually not have enough, and it ruins your immune system too. Okay, so those are the key factors. So what are the steps? So this is kind of my step-by-step, if I could say, step-by-step health regimen. Wash your hands. I cannot, even not hands, wash your hands. And it's a really bad habit of a lot of us to not wash our hands. And I mean, I've been guilty of it too. If you think about it, anytime we return home, we should wash our hands. How many things have we touched out and about? Anytime your children go somewhere and come back, right? Kids are such germ bombs. When you go out to eat, if you're caring for another loved one, another individual, even if you care for your kids and stuff, think about those kind of things. I know parents tend to get a lot of illness from their kids, right? Because you're so consumed by caring for them that you don't think about yourself. Handling pets is another one, or even pet, items from pets. So that's a big one. If you pet your dog or they've been, who knows what they have on them. Before planning and preparing meals, especially, I'd say right now, if you're getting groceries delivered and stuff, you don't know who's touched all that, right? And so I say if you want to take extra precaution, get some gloves, and when you unload and wipe everything down with, wipes. There's nothing wrong with taking those extra measures. I mean, I'm doing that just because who knows what is touched, and I want to be as proactive as I can be, but not paralyzed, if that makes sense. All right, so what are the immune-boosting foods that we can eat? So step 2, eat these immune-boosting foods. Fish or flax, okay? So those fatty acids. Once again, we've heard that's kind of come around quite a bit, more recently. Before it was no fats, and so, but that's been kind of around more. I think a lot of people get a lot more of that in. But just simply even do omega-3 supplement. That's what I do. I take omega-3 because, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't really ever eat fish. and then yogurt. During this time, I cannot stress yogurt enough. The probiotics in it, you want some yogurt. Get some Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt's always my go-to. You get the ones that, the non-fat type ones. Just make sure, watch labels, okay? When you're looking at labels, I would say if it has more than 6 ingredients in it, don't get it. There's too many different things in it. If it has a word on the back of those ingredients that you cannot read, don't get it. It's probably not meant for your body. So look for pure and natural things. Great things to do with yogurt. Get the plain yogurt. Get some fresh berries, because berries, antioxidants, okay? And some honey. Honey is really good for you right now. Mix that together, and that is a great little... And plus, it gives you if you get the Greek one, it's high in protein as well. So that's a good kind of snack, even just for you, just to boost the immune system. Mushrooms are a great source of, especially because they have the vitamin B. I was going to say, I think I had something else in there. I can't even say those right. Okay, so the SHITAKE ones. Shakati? I can never say it right. So those mushrooms are the best ones. I know what they look like. And then the fresh fruits, those berries. If you're not eating berries every single day, that's something I definitely recommend you incorporate into your life. Fresh berries. There's so many, for heart health, there's so many health benefits there. I could go into a long segment on that, but I won't. Balances out electrolytes, all that kind of stuff. Seaweed. Some people don't like seaweed, but seaweed is actually awesome for our T cells. So seaweed is another great thing. There's any kind of herbs are really, really good. And I actually have, I'll put that here for you guys too. I have a kind of a guidebook on different herbs and which ones are best for different things. So I'll include that too. I'll post that as well. There you guys can look at that. Green tea. If you don't like green tea, now is a great time to start because that's full of antioxidants. You could also, I think black tea is another one that you can do that has some research out on it. Put a little bit of honey on there as well. Honey and lemon would be great. So I love green tea. I'm just one of those weird people who really like green tea, just plain green tea. But honey's great. Lemon is always good, especially for sore throat type stuff. And then number one is water. Drink your water. That it not only prevents sickness because it's flushing out the toxins, it helps us feel more energized. It helps keep the weight off. It keeps our digestion system working. The blood moving. There's so many different things. People discredit having that so much. And I mean, even right now, like I have water by me all the time. And take sips of it as often as you can, especially with sickness going around. Like, flush out that body. And because it makes, I can't stress that one enough. That's another one I could talk a lot about. If you guys have more questions about that, let me know and I go into more. But really, I mean, just start making it a family thing. And they have really cool things now, too, where they have actual, I don't know, whatever you call it, pictures, and this thing down the center where you can put like fruit in there and stuff, so it kind of gives you have flavored water that's natural. So you can even put your berries, right? Berries inside that center, and then you have like this berry flavored water. So even if you get some of those, oh gosh, what are they called? They're like this kind of like the fizzy type waters that that you can drink those too. That'd be something if you need something different. Just watch the back. Like I said, make sure it's all natural stuff. But think of I give you different hacks on water, but get that water in. I drink almost 2 gallons a day because I work out hard, and I sweat a lot when I do, but you should be getting a gallon of water in a day. And I don't have it in here. I actually have from Amazon, just this like a gallon jug. And so I just make sure I drink that from throughout the day. And you can make it like a goal. You can each have one for each member of the family and make it a competition. All right, next, garlic and onion, okay? Garlic is one of those like old age things, like garlic is, but it's so true. It has immune boosting properties. So garlic is great. Onion as well. If you combine the garlic and onion and make a little broth out of it, it's really good for if you have a cold and stuff. And then last one on here, I have oats and barley, those whole grains. Okay, we want those whole grain like fibers. And so that's huge for the immune system too. And by all means, that's not like an extensive list, but those are my like, if I would say your kind of go-to for life, just life in general, I would say those are kind of your guideposts on what would be overall just that you could incorporate in your lifestyle to make it so it's not just during a season like this, but definitely during a season like this. Okay, vitamins and supplements. What vitamins and supplements do I recommend? Probiotics, okay, especially if you're not doing yogurt, like make sure you do that. The omega-3. Vitamin C is one of the cheapest ways, right? And honestly, I double it up. Truly, I went in January, I was at Tony Robbins' Business Mastery. And it's so funny, I was there, I'm like, it's like flu season. I'm like, okay. So I got like those vitamin C airbornes. I took one morning, afternoon, and evening. I got back, and like everyone was in the little face in the group. I was like, I have the flu. I did not get the flu. I'm like, so there's something to be said about that. And then I have a few other ones like golden seal. That's a powerful herb. Zinc is really good for us as well. If you feel like you have a lot of fatigue and stuff, zinc's really good to add in. So those are kind of my go-to ones as well. Step 4, okay, my fourth thing here is exercise. When you feel tired and you feel like you don't want to exercise, go exercise. Trust me. When you get up in the morning, you're like, I don't feel like exercising. Exercise is going to give you that boost. Not to mention, if you're feeling like a little iffy that day, but not like super sick, there are days where I woke up and I'm like, I don't feel as great. I sweat it out. I swear. There's something about it. You can sweat out a sickness. Sometimes all it takes is get up and get moving. So make sure you get that exercise in. And even if it doesn't even have to be really, really intense, but get your heart rate up enough. And if you have I understand, like family, if you have kids around, you're like, man, I have kids around, I'm going to provide you guys with some resources so you and your kids can work out and do stuff together, okay? Because I realize that this is a really interesting time if you have to stay home from work and your kids have to stay home from work, and what are we going to do to navigate all this? So my plan is to give you guys some resources for your families. Make it a family adventure, and maybe you make a new lifestyle. You never know. Which vitamins can you take together and which ones can't you? It depends. Are you taking any particular vitamins right now? Because most of the time you can take most of them most of them are okay to take together. There's really, unless you're like overdoing it on like zinc or overdoing it on something. But if you have some, let me know. If you take some right now, let me know. But you could take all of those I listed. So it just kind of depends, but there's not too many like you couldn't take, and it kind of depends on if you have a medical condition too. That would change it, or if you're taking any kind of prescription drugs or anything, like that would change it too. So if you give me specifics, like I'm happy to answer that a little more clear. And if not, then like I'll go dive into all my research on my vitamins tonight and make sure I'm giving you the right information too. So. But from what I know, there's very few that I've ever had an issue with people. The biggest thing is to make sure you're not allergic to anything. I've had a few cases where people have been allergic to there's one person who couldn't do the zinc and everything. Hi, Oz Gibson saying hello too. I love it. You guys are watching. Thanks for joining. So just really, I would say with the vitamins, you should be okay. But if you have any specific questions, let me know for sure. All right. So, what exercises actually boost our immune system? I fear this, you guys might want to know this. So, I have a list for you. All right. Swimming's good. Not really the best time of year, though, for it. Stair climbing, walking or jogging, biking, strength training. I cannot put enough emphasis on, okay, we're talking about being, healthy as a whole. We need strength. We should be, even if we're females, we need to be incorporating those weights. We're not going to bulk up, but it's gonna build some good muscle mass for us, and so we actually do want some weights, or we can use bands, those kind of things. But you want to incorporate strength into your workouts. Yoga, I can't stress yoga enough. I'm not a big fan of yoga because I don't like to hold poses for very long, so I teach it, and I find if I teach it, like I'm good. But yoga is really good. Pilates. Meditation and visualization can go into there too, and one of the best things to do is try to figure out how you can kind of combine some of them. So maybe find some yoga moves, or I'm having to make even a little video for you, because I intend to do yoga if I do it myself, like at night, just to stretch my body back out. And that's a lot of times when I'll do some evening like meditation and visualization and clear my mind and think about what went right that day. Like I clear my mind, like, okay, this is what went right, and these are the things I need to let go of, or maybe it didn't go right, but I don't need to own it, or does it have to have a place in me, and visualize what I want for the next day. There's a lot of studies actually now coming out of setting your intention for the next day the night before, because what you go to bed, the emotion and the state you go to bed in and fall asleep in is normally the state and emotion you wake up in. And so if we can know, like, tomorrow morning I'm going to get up and I'm going to go work out, or I'm going to go and do this. This is my intention. These are the things I'm really thankful for. I'm looking forward to these 3 things tomorrow. And you go to sleep on that, then you wake up with that on your mind in the morning, for the most part. So really think of that, because that was a huge hack for me in my life, because I have one of those minds that won't stop, and until I started doing that, it was hard for me to even fall asleep at all. All right. Next one, step 5, to make sure that we have this good immune system. Reduce stress. And I talked about this in the beginning. Stress, I think stress is like the number one reasons that we even get sick. Because if I look back on my life, every time I've gotten sick has been through a major stress time. Like major stress. And I let it consume me. And so it's just like now. We can't control what's going on, right? We can't. I mean, any amount that we try to, we're not going to solve this. We only can control and have realm over our space and our families, and we can choose peace, and we can choose a different outlook than what maybe the world wants us to have or the world has. So don't feed into that panic. Realize this is going to happen again, you guys. Like, this isn't the first time. This isn't going to be the last time. So we need to learn how to have a fit lifestyle and navigate through this, because this is the time when people will fall off their diets. This is the time when they will start stress eating again. If you tend to be a stress eater or emotional eater, wherever, let's say like you go for ice cream in the evening, okay? Put on your fridge, why am I here? Just put something like that. And when you go, answer that question before you open it up and actually get what you're going to have. And if your answer is because you're not dealing with your emotion, go deal with your emotion. Like, go deal with it in a healthy way, because what happens is we stuff down our emotions because we don't want to, I don't know, it becomes like almost this monster we think that's going to consume us or something, and it's not. It's just simply like, we need to deal with this fear. Okay, I am fearful, and that's okay that I'm fearful, but let me think through this. Okay, why am I fearful? Well, I can't control those things, so there's really no point in being fearful of that. What things can I look at and feel thankful for in this moment? And that can change our perspective completely. And we teach our kids to do that too. So really the biggest thing is, like, don't fall back into old patterns. If you've been making some good changes right now on your health and your fitness and going that way, don't fall into those old ways. Like, do everything you can to safeguard yourself and to surround yourself with positive. I mean, I'm a quote person. They're everywhere. Positive stuff around me, because what we have surround us is what's going to feed our mind, and what feed our mind, right, is and something in our heart, and that's what comes out to our kids and to our family members and to everyone else around us. And we want love and compassion to come out to them and to ourselves as well. So reduce stress, whatever you can to reduce stress. And some of the things that I put, the best ways to reduce stress is plan ahead, okay? Exercise reduces stress. Organize and prioritize. Sometimes our space, if we're stuck at home, this is a great time to clean up our space. Sometimes our space is just causing us stress. Like, just maybe this is a good time just to go through things and like clean house. Spring cleaning, it's perfect timing. So that might be a good opportunity. And sometimes we're simply stressed because we are tired. So there goes another thing of like sleep. Like, make sure you're getting adequate sleep. And the trouble with sleeping was a big thing with me. Like I said, I had too much on my mind, but other things that could be why you're not sleeping well is if you drink a lot before you go to bed, sometimes that could be, if you exercise too close to your bedtime, watch TV, eat too much protein actually is another one, jet lag if you're traveling, which none of us are going to be doing. Those can be different things. And a lot of it, just anxiety. I think a lot of society right now is just filled with anxiety, and once again, it goes to that, what I can control and what I can't, right? And so keeping that really in perspective, I think that's huge for right now. And ideally get, if you think about it, our body's cycle, okay, so like you need at least hour and a half segments, or three is best, but hour and a half segments that you break up your time when you sleep. So think of this hour and a half, like you're going to do 3, 4, oh my gosh, 6, right? 6, so 7.5 would be ideal. At least you're going to break your sleep cycle up. And we don't want to do that, because then you wake up like when it's not natural and when you're in like the depth of it. And that's why you might wake up kind of foggy and stuff. So think of hour and a half. So plan out when you go to sleep based on like hour and a half segments that we can finish your cycle. And that's from the time you actually fall asleep, not from the time you put your head down on the pillow. So it depends on if you're quick to fall asleep or not. All right. So a few frequently asked questions that I get. I have these. Can I exercise while I am sick? If you have a temperature above 99 degrees, I would say talk to your doctor first. I mean, regardless, talk to your doctor first. But normally you can exercise out like colds and those kind of things. It depends on how sick you feel. If you start working out and you start feeling worse, stop. But normally, I mean, what happens with me, a lot of times when I start working out, I start feeling better. So gauge it. But if you're running a high fever, be careful, and definitely don't go to the gym if you're running a fever or feel sick. And then I always get the thing of how much vitamin C should I take? And there's so many different things. There's so many different opinions out there. Some say that you should take up to 4 grams a day. I really can't say. I have to say with that one, because it's advice that really only a health professional could give you. Like, talk to your doctor, because he would know your blood work and stuff. If I saw your blood work, I'd give you a better answer. But I don't know. I've taken a bunch of vitamin C before. I never had an issue. So, and then should I take my supplements while I'm still ill? I say yes, as long as you're not prescribed with some kind of antibiotics. Make sure that your doctor, it's okay that you're taking it with your antibiotics. So, but yeah, I say if you're definitely take your supplements on that. Okay, so that's kind of that's my 65 research thing for you guys and like a condensed version. But I'm going to give you access to this, so you will have it with all the details of it as well. Like, okay, this is a great opportunity for you to start working out from home, right? So let me know what you guys need in regards to that. Post some comments. Like, do you need me to give you guys just some basic workouts? Do you want me to do some live workouts? Do you want me to do some videos? If you need a streaming service, like if you want a variety for you, let me know, because I am a Beachbody coach, so I get you hooked up with that. They have a good deal going on right now if you want their like yearly streaming program. But don't let the fact that you can't go to the gym, you can't go in public, be an excuse not to show up and work out. In fact, allow this to be a great opportunity for you to show up and work out, because maybe we have more time now, right? And do it as maybe even as a family. So I'll try to, put in some family workouts and those kind of things. But really, I think the biggest takeaway is that these are the things that we can do. And these are the things that we should be doing all the time. And if we incorporate these into our lives as a fit lifestyle, they're going to be beneficial overall for us. And maybe we wouldn't have such spread of diseases and everything if we would start taking better care of ourselves. And if you remember, I'll put this article, but the article that was published was the reason the people who are getting the disease have pre-existing conditions to what? Cardiovascular disease, diabetes, chronic respiratory disease, hypertension, cancer, kidney disease. A lot of them are things that we can prevent. So if we're preventing those things in our daily lives, then we are being proactive, and then we don't need to be so concerned with these things happening. Because remember, our body is meant to fight off things. We're survivors, man. Oh my gosh, our bodies are amazing machines. And so take a deep breath and know that it's going to be okay. Like, we're going to get through this. And look at the opportunities that maybe you have in front of you to maybe show up for your family in different ways and be there and build some different routines and stuff. But I'd love to know what things that you take away from this, and what things you're going to incorporate into maybe your life, and what more questions you have. I'm happy to pop back on here again tomorrow as well, and answer any more questions. I'll look more into the vitamin thing. I want to definitely clarify that. But any questions you have, if I don't have the answer, I'm going to go find it for you guys, okay? So if I need to pull someone on to do a live for you and get you the answers, I will. So I want you to feel empowered. And let me know what you need, because I will truly get what you guys need. Because I want you to come through this season on the other side a better version of yourself. And I want to do that too. Rather than let's be different than the world that allows us to take us under, okay? All right. I love you all so much. Thank you for jumping on tonight. Please post your comments and everything. I really appreciate you giving me your time tonight, and I hope this helped. Watch the replay for anyone who didn't catch the whole beginning and stuff, so it all makes sense. And I'll get these documents posted up sometime tonight, okay? All right. Thanks so much, you all.